I have to modify my pocket here a little bit so I can get that centered like it was. Now, I typically do not use any kind of adhesive or glue, any kind of material to hold my servos in. But if you have to modify a pocket like this, it's always a good idea to throw some hot glue in there, just enough to hold it in place. Still not right. Take some more. Now, this is also the reason you allow yourself this ledge here around the servo, is it kind of helps in this situation where you have to move some stuff around. You have the ability to do that. But these were straight when we measured them. We just have to make sure it's the same here. That's much better. One of the other things is this clevis. Since I'm using it from this side, it's upside down. So once I flip it over, it'll be fine where I need it to be. There's a small difference because of the pad that's on the clevis. Got that there. Got to remove something underneath this servo here. Back. And again, I'm just test fitting and double checking everything. Make sure we've got it lined up properly. It might take a few times to get everything where it needs to be, but that's just trial and error. Because keeping this perfect is not always easy. And there's something keeping this servo from going back. Got that back in there. Nice and straight. I'll apply my hot glue just like I did on the other side. And in there. Just letting that set up for a little bit. is that glue's so hot that it'll deform this tube if you don't have something in there. But you can feel the heat from it. Another thing that I do, it's not completely necessary, and I typically do it when the coroplast is in place. I usually backfill that. And it's to guarantee that that doesn't go anywhere, no matter what. You don't get any flexibility. You don't have to worry about the glue really bonding to the tube as much because the hot glue bonds to the foam. And once that's set, you just pull that tube out. I can do the same thing I did on the other side. All I do for the angle is just start where my mark is. And you can see that there's a small difference, so you can easily go back and trim it down. But it's a lot better. Getting the hot glue there around that. Other than that, that's pretty much it to the servos. I've got an extension here. Typically what I'll do is this will be speed control pocket. I'll have the extra wire from this. I'll fish it into this tunnel that I have under here, and I'll use a standard end on this, plug it together, put my heat shrink on there, and then push it through so it doesn't interfere with anything else. But it's good to put that stuff in there just so you don't have to worry about trying to fish it through later. What I have to do now is make my coroplast for this side. And I'll be done with the servos. The servos really do not take that much time. Since I'm building this kind of quickly, I ran into one situation on this side. But if you're in a hurry, you're bound to do something like that. You don't quite get something right. As long as the centers of these tubes stay right where they're supposed to, you won't have any issues. There's my coroplast. When I glue it down, it'll stay flush like it's supposed to. And that's it for those. Okay, the next thing here is the motor mounts. Now, the standard material is 1 inch wide, about 2 1/4 inch long. All I did on this, draw a line around it, use my router to get it down to the same thickness as this, glue it into place, both sides, just to make it flush with the foam. And it creates pretty much a composite structure because it's, and 4 independent places to disperse any kind of impact force. Typically when you hit, if you only have 2 points of contact, that's only 2 places for that energy to go to. With 4 points of contact, it absorbs more of that force and results in less damage to this area. But seeing how I don't have these cut out, I'll show you an alternative method. Now this is just, if somebody wants to do it, this is how I do it. I got a piece of 2 mil Coro, put that in there, and it's just to get this level. Here I've got a bubble level and place it on there, and the key is to get this thickness here is about half as thick as my trailing edge. When I remove the material and put this plate in and sandwich it in between, it'll be good enough to hold the power system that's going into this. But I've got my bubble level in the center. Take a blade, using your piece here, you just use it as a guide and cut back in there to remove this piece. And you go around the outside edges, remove it, glue the aluminum plate in, then glue this back down on top of it and shave the excess material off. Then you have it inset, and then all you have to do is take your motor mount here as a guide. You can draw around it, cut down to where your metal's at, and that's it'll inset the motor in there, and the motor will be completely straight with the thrust line of the airframe. Mounting it on top like this does allow more cooling air in versus the method I just talked about. And it's still, the only difference is you'll have to adjust the thrust angle on it. That's the only difference. Typically when it's straight in, like the other method, it doesn't require much at all, if any. It just depends on how straight you can keep that. But I'm not gonna, I'll have to go back over this area here when I get my material for that cut. What I'm going to do now is glassing.